Okay, the first skill we're going to do is to look at how to assemble the equipment on a scuba cylinder. Yep. So the first thing you do when you grab a cylinder is, first of all, you're going to look at the markings on the tank, and most importantly, you're going to look at the hydrostatic test here. And on this cylinder, I can see the test has been made in July 2009, which is well within the dive industry standard, which is, depending on the country, between 4 or 5 years also. The second thing you want to look at on the cylinder is the valve, to see if you got an international valve or if you got a DIN valve. In that case, we've got an international valve, but with an insert that can be removed, so you have a DIN valve, or when it's back like this, you have an international valve. And lastly, what you want to look at, the O-ring, okay, on the valve when it's international, to make sure the O-ring is in a good shape. If not, you're going to take it out, replace it, or if you can't, you're going to change the tank. The second thing you want to do, you want to place the BCD onto the cylinder. Okay. So to help putting the BCD, you want to make it wet, which I've done previously. And then what you need to do, you need to slide the BCD over the tank with the valve facing the back of the BCD. You take this strap above, which is going to be around the tank valve, and you just slide the BCD like this. Okay, then you can put this strap around the tank valve and secure it to make it tight. And finally, you want to make sure the BCD is at the appropriate level. Okay, what I like to do is to have mine with the backpack almost lined up with the valve, which is the case. Some people would prefer it lower or a bit higher. Then you want to make sure that the BCD is probably facing the valve and not too much on the right, too much on the left. And to secure the BCD in place, you're going to take the cam band, you're going to tighten the strap, take the buckle, push it like this, take the loose end into the buckle, take the loose end, hold the tank by the valve, and then you're going to pull firmly to secure it. And the final check, you want to make sure it stays. As soon as the BCD is in place, now you want to put the regulator onto the valve. So you grab your regulator, okay. You're going to remove the dust cap, so that's a yoke international regulator. You remove the dust cap, and when you place the regulator, you want to keep in your left hand the second stage's regulators, and on the right hand you're going to have the pressure gauge and the low pressure inflate hose, okay, when you're facing the equipment. So you place the regulator over the valve, you apply the regulator onto the O-ring, and then you're going to put this screw back, and you're just going to have it finger tight. Yep. Now this is done. Now we're just going to show you how to install a DIN regulator. Okay. So as we said previously, we've got an insert, so you just need to take it off to make it a DIN valve. So you need to have this Allen key. You just simply, you turn anti-clockwise and you remove the insert. And now we've got here a DIN valve. We can notice there's no O-ring anymore, because on the DIN regulator, which I have here, the O-ring is actually on the first stage of the regulator. So I'm going to remove the dust cap, and we can see that the O-ring is actually on the regulator. So you want to check if the O-ring is in place in a good shape. And to fix the regulator onto the valve, well, like previously, you're going to keep the regulator on the left, the hose on the left, the pressure gauge on the right, and you're going to simply screw the first stage into the valve. Again, finger tight. And that's it. Then you're going to take your low pressure hose and you're going to connect it onto the power inflator of the BCD. So to connect it, you're going to hold the hose in your fingers, pull this ring backwards, hold it like so, place it on the power inflator, release, and make sure it's tightened. Then you clip the hose here, and then you place it like this so it's nice and neat along the BCD. The pressure gauge, first you're going to place it into the pocket when you're going to open the tank. Okay. Now you can open the tank. So to open the tank, okay, you just have to turn, it's written on the valve that where to open and close. So you're going to slowly open the tank. You can hear the pressure going into the system. And then with only 2 or 3 fingers, you open the valve. Okay, no need to open it firmly, just with fingers, and no more quarter turn back. Now the equipment is in place, the tank is open. Now we're going to check the entire BCD and regulator. First of all, you're going to look at the pressure gauge to make sure you've got the proper pressure. In that case, we got slightly over 200 bar, okay, which is fine. What you can do straight away is to place the pressure gauge properly. There you go. Then you want to check if you can inflate and deflate the BCD. So you're going to take the power inflator. This is to inflate, the gray button, and this is to deflate. So to inflate, I just press on it until I hear the valve popping. That's the case, so that works. Now I want to deflate, so I press on it. That works. All right, now we're going to test the valve, okay? So to test the valve, I'm going to first reinflate the BCD. That works. I'm going to pull here the valve. That works. And inflate again. I'm going to check this valve by pulling by the power inflator. Okay, that works. And I'm going to test the last valve here. I'm putting this. That works. Now let's check the regulators. So check first the second stage, the one we're going to use. You just put it into your mouth and you just breathe from it softly. Okay, that works. And you're also going to check the alternate air source. That works very well. The last check you want to do, you want to check if the pressure gauge is working, and also if there's no leak into the second stage. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually close the tank again with my fingers. So I'm going to turn clockwise to close my cylinder. I'm going to take the second stage into my mouth. I'm going to breathe quickly, short breath, while looking at the pressure gauge and the needle to see if the needle is going down accordingly. Good, I can see the pressure gauge is working because the needle was going down accordingly. Now the last check I want to do is to check, since the system is closed, I want to check if there's no leak at the mouthpiece or at the membrane. So I'm going to put a regulator in my mouth and to actually breathe from it and feel if there's any air coming through. Okay, there's no air coming through. And I do the same thing with the alternate air source. No air coming through, the system is okay. And now we've checked the equipment, we're gonna place the alternate air source where it belongs. So it could be either a fix here, or in that case, there's an opening here, it goes here. You never leave the tank standing, so you're gonna leave the tank horizontally on the floor. And the last thing you want to do, you want to quickly pressurize again the system, close it, place the tank down with equipment inside, okay, and you leave it like this, so when you pick it up after, you check as well one more time the pressure gauge to see if the needle has moved or not. If the needle has moved, it may indicate there's a leak somewhere. But so far, so good. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to show you how to disassemble the equipment. Okay, so you're coming back from the dive, it's time to remove the gear. First thing first, you're going to close the tank, so you turn clockwise. But there's still pressure within the system, so you need to remove the air. So you take your second stage, look at your pressure gauge, you press on the membrane of the second stage until the pressure gauge goes to 0. When you're here, you're gonna remove the low pressure inflator hose. To take it off, fingers onto the hose, push it against the power inflator, with your fingers pull the ring backwards and take it off. Your pressure gauge, you just remove it. You take off the alternate air source and you can remove the first stage, so open it. You're going to replace the dust cap, but you need to dry it before. So to dry it, either you take a towel and you dry it, or you can apply this against the valve, open it shortly to dry it up, like so. When this is dry, you're going to replace it onto the first stage and bring the screw back in place to hold the dust cap in place. There you go. Then you can place the regulator into your bag. You fold it nicely. And then you're going to remove the BCD so you can unclip this strap. You take the loose end of the tank band, open the buckle, and take it off. You can put this back in your bag, but there's water inside, so you can either put it upside down and take the water out, which like this, and you completely empty the BCD, put into your bag, and all right, now we're going to do the Predive safety check, or called the buddy check. We're going to use the BWRAF. B stands for BCD. So I'm going to check your equipment while you check my equipment. Yeah, so you take my power inflator that secures, and we're going to inflate until we hear popping, and you're going to inflate as well until you hear mine actually popping. That's good. Now I'm going to check if it deflates properly, so I'm going to press here, and you press on mine here. Cool. Now we're going to see if we can inflate the BCD orally, so you're going to inflate mine, I'm going to inflate yours. So I press here, I blow into it. All right, now we're going to check the valve. So I'm going to check his valve. So he's got one here. I'm going to pull here on the valve. That works. I'm going to inflate again. I'm going to check his valve here at the rear. That works. And finally, I'm going to check here this valve. So I'm going to inflate. I'm going to pull onto the power inflator. And that works. And now you're going to do the same thing on me. Inflate, so yeah, check the valve. Okay, inflate again. And check mine, so you pull on the power inflator. Cool. And the last one, which I have in the rear. Cool. So that was for the B for BCD. W stands for weight belt, so we're going to check the weight system. So on mine I've got a weight belt with a right hand release, and I've got two weights only, one on the left, one on the right. We want to make sure the weights are properly distributed to have a good balance on the water. I'm going to check yours. You don't have a weight belt, but you got integrated weight pockets, which I can have access to. One here, one here. I can see if I can pull it. Yes, I can actually even try it. That's good. I'm going to try the other one. That works. And I know that he's got also some trim pockets, one here and one on the other side, but there's no weight. Okay, so that's for the weight check. BWR, R stands for releases. We're going to check both our releases. So one here, tighten, one here, tighten, here, clipped, this one, okay, clipped, and the Velcro down. And the other one, most important, is the one on the tank. So you're going to lean forward slightly, and I'm going to check if it stays. Perfect. And this as well, to make sure it's secure properly around the valve. You're going to check mine as well. That's one, that's two, three, four. I don't have a Velcro. Good. So that's for releases. So BWRA, A stands for air. First I'm going to check if the valve is open. That's the case with fingers, no quarter turn back, remember. He's going to check on mine as well. Cool. And now he's going to breathe on his own regulator while I'm going to breathe from his alternate air source at the same time. And while we do that, we look at the pressure gauge to see if the needle is moving or not. So let's go for it. Okay, the regulator works and the pressure gauge is not moving, which means the system is working properly. And he's going to do the same thing on mine. You take my alternate air source, I take my primary second stage, I'm going to look at the pressure gauge. Correct, all good. And finally, F for the final okay. He's got his mask, snorkel, and he's got his fins. Okay, he's got a watch or DAF computer. I've got my watch, mask, snorkel, and my fins ready to go. Driver, driver, are you okay? Driver, driver. Help, help! Unconscious, non-breathing driver. Call EMS, prepare oxygen. One 1,000, two 1,000, three 1,000, four 1,000, five 1,000, one 1,000, two 1,000. 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000.